Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking right now at 8 o'clock, lights out in Durham. Thousands of customers without power in the Bull City right now when crews are expected to restore services and the problems it's already creating for people.
Plus, fire evacuations. Employees are back inside a factory in Nash County after they were temporarily forced outside. We'll explain what we know about that situation.
And at least the heat is not as big of a deal today. We'll show you how long this relief from the intense heat lasts before it eventually makes a comeback coming up.
Days-long outage. People in Enfield are entering their 4th day without electricity. The help town leaders are offering today, and even though it's slightly cooler today, folks, it's still going to be hot, so certainly hope that they can get the power turned back on. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Let's get right back to meteorologist Chris Michaels because he's going to tell us just how hot we're going to feel today. A slight improvement today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, compared to the past few days when we were under heat advisories, we'll take this. You've got the clouds at least preventing temperatures from rising too much this morning as we look live from our tall tower camera in southeastern Wake County. You've got one shower that just left Wendell. It's heading more toward Clayton and Wilson's Mill. You've also got a shower heading toward Chapel Hill and Carborough and toward the southern part of Durham County. These are very light. They pass within like 5 minutes. Hardly any impact to your morning plans. If that includes taking the dog for a walk, today, not too bad. Temperatures 86 to 88 degrees. Still a little on the humid side, but not going to be nearly as bad as we've seen in recent days. And we'll continue to track that little dip in humidity as the wind comes in out of the northeast. So we'll show you how long that's going to last, how much the humidity dips by, and when we see the return of potential heat advisories. All that's coming your way in just a few minutes. Ken?
8:01, Chris. We're staying on top of that breaking news as well as the congested building on some of our major routes in terms of that power outage in Durham that's knocked out the traffic lights at Roxborough and Liberty Street. Let's get right to the breaking news tracker. That's where we find Ali Catlabar, photographer Michael Joyner. So, Ali, you've been there for the last hour and a half or so. What's happening now?
Yeah, well, this intersection behind me is just one of the handful that are without power. We've even seen a possible wreck just happen in the past, or a potential wreck just happened. So very dangerous right here. Even more dangerous is using this as a crosswalk as people are just kind of zooming past there. We know apartments, buildings, the city buildings as well, they're without power. I just spoke with the Judicial Annex here, Veteran Services. They're without power. They're still open, but they're without AC, especially since it's pretty hot this morning. More than 2,000 customers are without power. It's expected to be restored within the next 15 minutes, but we are going to keep you guys updated. We know fallen limbs and trees caused this outage, so we are going to be out here keeping you guys updated. Ken?
Ali Catlabar live in Durham. Bring it back in the WRAL Traffic Center as we isolate the Beltline. Right now, we see congestion building on that southern loop of the Beltline starting around Lake Wheeler Road and coming off those I-87 lanes, that northern loop of the Beltline heavily congested as well. So let's take you outside, show you what we're talking about. I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road, these are the westbound lanes moving away from us. Similarly, that northern loop of the Beltline, things appear to be moving a little better at that northern loop. So if you have a choice of whether or not to take either side, I would recommend that northern loop just to be on the safe side. In terms of major routes coming into the capital city, a couple of troubled spots. You're coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 6-minute delay on US 1 Capitol Boulevard, just a 4-minute delay if you're coming in from Knightdale. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Breaking news that we're following. Employees at the Cummins plant near Rocky Mount were forced to evacuate after a fire, and WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is there on the scene. Kelsey, we now know that they are back inside that building.
Yes, Chris, we just heard an announcement over the intercom here at Cummins factory just about 5 minutes ago. We'll take you to some video so you can see those employees who were stuck waiting outside. They were forced to evacuate the building. I did speak with one of the supervisors here at the plant less than 10 minutes ago. He says there was a dumpster fire. No one was hurt, but they decided to evacuate the building as a precaution. So right now we're working to find out what caused that fire. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Nash County.
And another power outage we've been tracking for days is in Halifax County. People in Enfield are waking up without power for a 4th day after a strong storm damaged the grid on Saturday. The power could turn back on as early as this morning, but there is a chance that the power won't come back on until later this afternoon. The heat index has been at least 100 degrees since the town went dark on Saturday. Enfield Mayor Mondale Robinson declared a state of emergency yesterday. He is now calling on the federal and state governments to help Enfield rebuild its grid before the next storm hits.
We're trying to figure out how do we make North Carolina understand that this problem is catastrophic for not just those who are on assistance, but the entire town lost food and also other necessities.
And the OIC mobile clinic will be in town today to provide medical care for folks who need it. There's also a shelter, a cooling center, and charging bank that's running at Enfield Middle School right now.
This morning, a crane, tow truck, and Durham police spent hours pulling a car from a ditch on Cornwallis Road. Investigators tell us that car flipped into the ditch before 2:45 this morning. It was stuck under some branches and trees there. There were no injuries reported, at least serious ones, and that road has since been reopened. Today, there will be testimony in Raleigh over plans for a Duke Energy plant in Person County. And yes, the plan could mean that there could be an expectation of energy needs that are met. But the project is being criticized by some people. WRAL's Laura Levine shares why people in the county say they're concerned about this.
State regulators will begin testimony here at the Dobbs building behind me in Raleigh on Duke Energy's request to build an additional natural power plant in Person County. We know that this plant would be on the same site as another natural gas plant, and neighbors in the area say that they're worried about air quality problems. Duke says the plant is needed because demand for power has grown faster than they projected. Environmental groups and solar advocates say the additional plant will contribute to climate change. They say Duke should be investing its customers' money in renewable energy instead.
They need to take in consideration the environmental disadvantage. The environmental disadvantage is they increasing the greenhouse gas emission.
So the State Utilities Commission will hear arguments on all sides in this case beginning today at 10 a.m. that could last throughout the week. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Man who drowned after driving a stolen pickup truck into the Lumber River has been identified. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office says 50-year-old Gary Chavis died. They say deputies tried to stop the stolen truck in Pembroke. The driver sped off, leading deputies on a chase, and that chase ended when Chavis drove down a boat ramp into the river and tried swimming away. His body was found by emergency responders. A female passenger was rescued before that truck sank.
Police in Goldsboro are investigating after finding a woman dead inside of a home. Officers were called to a house on Central Heights Road. This was just before 5:30 last night. That is where they found 36-year-old Garicia Joyner unresponsive, and she was pronounced dead right there. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Chapel Hill police are making progress in their investigation into a carjacking and ATM armed robbery. Police say these two crimes are connected. The first happened around 10:30 on Sunday night. Officers say a woman took out cash at an ATM at the Bank of America on Willow Drive, and police say 3 men followed her home and robbed her at gunpoint. They could be the same men accused in a carjacking on East Franklin Street. That happened around 3 a.m. yesterday. The vehicle was later recovered in Durham. If you know anything about either, contact Crime Stoppers right away.
3 people were hurt in a crash involving a box truck in Apex. In fact, Sky 5 was above that scene between Lufkin Road and Meridian Point Drive yesterday. That truck and a car crashed into each other, and 3 people inside that car were taken to the hospital with injuries. A portion of the road was closed for a while, but later reopened. WRAL is working to learn what caused a concrete truck to overturn in Zebulon. Sky 5 was above this scene, too. And this happened on US 64 West near Lizard Lick Road yesterday. Lanes were closed as teams worked to get that truck back onto its wheels.
Part of US 501 in Roxborough is back open after a water main break shut it down over the weekend. Roxborough Police Chief David Hess says intermittent lane closures are still expected over the next week. Photos show the damage left behind on the roadways from that water main break on Saturday. The city was placed under a boil water advisory. And cybersecurity students at Wake Tech Community College are giving small business owners a chance to learn more about ways to help protect their business. The students are putting on a free cybersecurity workshop at the college's RTP campus on Chapel Hill Road in Morrisville. They aim to help businesses increase their defenses. The workshop is expected to last from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Cary Town Council is giving people an opportunity to engage with council members. A special town hall meeting tonight is scheduled from 6:30 to 8:30. And the town tells WRAL the focus will be on developments, downtown updates, and the local election schedule. You are asked to RSVP if you want to attend. The town hall will include refreshments and activities for kids.
Coming up, paying tribute, friends and former co-stars reacting to the drowning death of Cosby Show actor Malcolm Jamal Warner, how they are remembering him next.
Plus, antidepressant warnings. Hear the concerns health leaders have about its use during pregnancy, plus the conclusion an FDA panel reached.
And the drop in humidity over the next couple of days is pretty subtle. We'll at least exchange tropical moisture for less humid air. We'll time that out and show you when the intense heat makes a comeback. That's all coming up in less than 10 minutes. 8:13 this morning. Holly Springs at 75, Durham's up to 76, Morrisville and Raleigh at 78, Clayton 77. Just a few stray showers out there. Otherwise, it's a mostly cloudy morning, and temperatures slow to rise because of the clouds and the fact that the air's coming in out of the northeast tends to bottle up some cooler air. It's still July after all. By 1 p.m., we'll be in the low to mid 80s with highs today across the board, mostly between about 86 and 88 degrees. Benson, Rocky Mount, good morning. You're at 87 this afternoon. Fayetteville at about 90 degrees. A far cry from the 99 you were at just a couple days ago. Meanwhile, in the Sandhills, that's where we stand the chance for a stray shower or storm this afternoon. That's all with a front that's moving through the area. We'll show you when that brings a bigger dip in humidity levels and how long that lasts coming up. Ken?
All right, Chris, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We got new information about that situation with that power outage that knocked out traffic lights at Roxborough and Liberty Streets just in the last minute or so. Photographer Michael Joyner and Ali Calabar reporting the traffic lights are back on. So all systems are go at Liberty and Roxborough Street. So nothing to worry about there. As we isolate the Beltline really quickly, you can show you what I'm talking about. Those westbound lanes are really congested this morning. You're looking at maybe a 3 to 5 minute delay if this is part of your morning commute.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, who starred as Theo on The Cosby Show, has died. And Warner drowned in Costa Rica while on a family vacation on the Caribbean coast. A spokesperson for Bill Cosby told People magazine that his death reminded him of the same call he received when his son died. Former co-star Tracy Ellis Ross wrote, quote, "What an actor and friend you were. Warm, gentle, present, kind, thoughtful, deep, funny, and elegant. You made the world a brighter place." Warner spent 8 seasons on The Cosby Show and then went on to build an impressive on-screen career, appearing in more than 65 TV shows and movies, too. Warner leaves behind a wife and daughter, and he was 54 years old.
The White House has removed reporters from the Wall Street Journal from its upcoming trip to Scotland. The decision comes after the publication's recent story about President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The July 17th story describes a collection of letters gifted to Epstein for his 50th birthday back in 2003. It says that it included a letter and sexually a suggestive drawing from Trump. The president filed a defamation lawsuit and said the letter and drawing do not exist.
The FDA could consider a policy update for pregnant women using antidepressants. The agency gathered an expert panel to consider effects, and that includes selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, during pregnancy. Those are commonly used to treat depression. Some doctors argue there could be higher rates of anxiety and depression symptoms in children exposed to them in the womb. That FDA panel did not reach a consensus. However, many on it agreed that stronger warnings on SSRI labels are needed.
We haven't yet found any evidence that it improves the outcomes of the offspring. And there may be evidence that it actually worsens the outcome.
Psychotherapy and SSRIs are tools that we have in our armamentarium to make a positive impact in the lives of mothers and infants.
The FDA panel, again, did not reach a consensus on this, but this is a story we'll continue to develop, and we will follow it on WRAL News.
The Blue Ridge Parkway is taking another major step in its recovery from Helene. This picture shows a newly reopened stretch near Linville Falls. This extends from mile marker 305 to 317. It's the first reopening expected in the coming weeks and months. And all of the red marks on this map from the National Park Service show sections along the popular highway that are still closed. As you can see, the bulk of the highway in North Carolina falls into that category. Park rangers say dozens of landslides caused extensive damage to the parkway.
We've all said it at some point this summer, right? This humidity is brutal. But is that actually the truth, or is our mind just playing games with us? In a matter of perception versus reality, meteorologist Chris Michaels will set the record straight in today's Ask the Meteorologist. Chris, which places locally are seeing the most humid summer on record?
So the Triangle and Sandhills, right? So, I mean, yeah, look, it gets hot and humid every summer around here, but this has been exceptional. The Triangle, the Sandhills, seeing its most humid, and Goldsboro, Rocky Mountain, Wilson seeing their second most humid summer on record. And I picked these places specifically because their data goes back at least 50 years. I wanted to have more of a sample size to look at there. Reason being is because of this area, this Bermuda high. You see the clockwise flow around it, just dragging in moisture from the Atlantic and from the Gulf, both of which are right now warmer than average. So that's part of why we're seeing so much moisture, so much humidity. And it's more than it just feeling uncomfortable, right? We've had a lot of slow moving storms in parts of the country that have contributed to more than 3,160 flash flood warnings, which is reportedly the most on record through this point in the year. Chapel Hill, one of those places that's seen more than 16 inches of rain so far this month, making it the second wettest month on record for the town, and those data go back to 1891. Coming up in a little bit, I'll show you when the humidity breaks off a little bit and how long that's going to last.
All right, thank you, Chris. Fayetteville's new police chief is laying out his plans for his first few weeks on the job. Monday was Chief Roberto Bryan Jr.'s first day. He told us that he is spending his first 30 days getting briefed on the challenges the city and the department are facing. His goal is to leave the community better than he found it.
I want to make sure that we have the trust of the community and making sure that they understand that, we are willing to be transparent and collaborate with other stakeholders to make, our community better.
And Chief Bryan sat down for a longer conversation with WRAL's Carly Haynes. He spoke about his experience, his approach to violent crime, and recruitment challenges. You can watch the entire interview on the WRAL YouTube page.
It's going to be a long wait for nature lovers who want to get back into some of North Carolina's state parks. Occoneechee Mountain and Eno River State Parks are still closed. Park staff are still assessing the damage 2 weeks after the storm, and some of the cleanup will involve machinery, and that can't be brought in until the ground is drier.
Such that we're going to have to be pretty clever and really be creative in terms of how do we remove the debris. What can be removed, what should be, artfully scattered in the woods to become habitat for animals.
In Chapel Hill, the town is facing millions of dollars in damage. Parts of the Bowling Creek Trail will be closed for 12 to 18 months, and repairs could cost $5 million, Michelle.
That's a lot of money. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Chris Michaels in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Feeling a little bit better today, Chris. We'll take it.
Yeah, a little bit, right? We'll take small improvements where we can. Out the door this morning, still pretty muggy. Temperatures mid-to upper 70s and cloudy over Apex. A few showers just to our west heading into the northern portion of Chatham County near Jordan Lake. Temperatures this afternoon, they make it to about 85 to 90 degrees. That northeast breeze and some cloud cover is what's going to keep us from reaching the mid to upper 90s. So again, a stray shower this morning. Forecast models aren't really going to pick up stray showers very well. Heading into the afternoon, our front is going to be just south of the area, enough to maybe trigger a stray storm in areas like Hope Mills and maybe Salemsburg as you head into Cumberland and Sampson counties, but that's really about it for the time being. Then some drier air gradually comes in from the northeast. It's going to be a process. It doesn't just happen all at once, but enough to where we see the low temperature tomorrow in the upper 60s. And in the Triangle, last time we had a low temperature below 70 degrees was on June the 21st, so it's definitely been a while. High pressure is going to keep the tropical moisture to the south. This is a storm system that doesn't really get named, but it's enough that it's going to bring some showers and storms along the coast, maybe a stray shower toward the Sandhills again heading into Thursday. But high pressure is definitely going to be that main weather maker for us. And as it strengthens over the eastern U.S., it allows the heat to build back into the picture. And with that comes some more of that humidity that could wind up leading to some heat alerts as we get closer to the weekend. And what I mean by that, heat advisories, much like we've seen over the past few days. Not seeing that today or tomorrow with highs in the mid to upper 80s, lows 65 to 70 degrees Wednesday and Thursday mornings. Thursday afternoon back to 92, but there you have it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is when we return to the sauna. Temperatures mid to upper 90s and the heat index likely, well, higher than that. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Congestion building on some of the major routes, including the Beltline this morning. You can see what I'm talking about. Starting around Lake Wheeler Road, we're also seeing that congestion building on that northern loop of the Beltline, those lanes that you come off of I-87 out of Nightdale. Here's what it looks like on that southern loop. Boy, it's bumper-to-bumper traffic this morning. And similarly, that northern loop of the Beltline, we're seeing that congestion building as well. In terms of major routes and other major routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. If you're coming in from maybe Wake Forest, you're coming in from Nightdale and the like, this is what we're talking about. You're looking at a 5-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest and US 1 and Capitol Boulevard. Just a 2-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale.
All right, thank you, Ken. Jailhouse scam. 5 on your side explains how inmates are running phone scams from inside the jail and the threats they're making when victims push back.
And drama-free flight delays, what you can do to minimize those summer travel headaches. That's next.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Let's get right over to meteorologist Chris Michaels with our weather forecast. A little bit cooler today, Chris.
A little bit, yeah, and still just a stray shower around Chapel Hill, just enough to maybe spritz there, just a little bit of light rain. You see that passing through Chapel Hill right now, also heading into the Beltline there in North Raleigh. This is also near Mooresville. This is not going to cause any sort of issue for you. It's one of those things that passes within about 5 minutes. After that, temperatures still slow to climb, mostly cloudy throughout at least the morning. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. We'll show you how long this break in the intense heat is going to last over on Fox 50. Ken?
Now in the WRAL Traffic Center, let's take a spin around the Beltline, starting with the southern loop of the Beltline. Those are the bumper traffic, westbound lanes moving away from us. Just check the sensors. You're looking at a 6-minute delay of that southern loop. The northern loop of the Beltline, things are moving a little better, not that much though, but give yourself some extra time if this is part of your morning commute, that northern loop of the Beltline. In terms of major routes coming into the capital city, you're looking at a 7-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning. Over in Durham, very little to no delays, but we were seeing a little bit of a slowdown. If you're using I-885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at a 10-minute delay.
All right, thank you, Ken. This is day 4 without power for downtown Enfield residents. The power could turn back on this morning, but there is a chance it will not be on until later this afternoon. Enfield Mayor Mondale Robinson declared a state of emergency as residents tried to beat the extreme heat. And right now, traffic lights are back on along Roxborough Street in Durham after power was knocked out there this morning. An outage affected thousands of customers in that area. Power was out for almost 3 hours. It was caused by a tree damaging equipment. We'll have more news and weather on Fox 50.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking right now, dozens of customers without power in the Bull City. Ali Kalabar is there along with the breaking news tracker. This is a live look. Power slowly being restored when they'll be back on for everyone.
And thankfully, the heat isn't too intense there in the Bull City. A break from the heat will show you how long that lasts and how significant that break is going to be coming up.
And people are waiting in the heat. Some people in Enfield waking up to another day without power. We'll talk about when the outage is expected to be fixed, and hopefully pretty soon, given how hot it's going to be.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Lots to get to still in this half hour, but let's start with meteorologist Chris Michaels taking a live look over pretty cloudy Chapel Hill. Are we going to see any rain today, Chris?
Yeah, a little bit of sprinkles going on in Chapel Hill. I've seen folks walking there on East Franklin Street with no issue, and so really not a big bother for us, just that stray shower right there around Carborough and Chapel Hill. Heavier rain is off toward Alamance County, and that's going to move just into parts of Chatham County. So Siler City, I give another half hour or so before you see that. Very stray showers on the northern loop of the Beltline in Raleigh and also just around Clayton. Those are just a few sprinkles that you may run into. They last you maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Aside from that, today, clouds and a northeast breeze are going to keep us from seeing that intense heat that we've seen in recent days. High temperatures across the board. about 86 to 88 this afternoon. Still muggy out there this afternoon. Heading into the evening, things will gradually start to improve for us. Heading into tomorrow, we'll see our dew points in the 60s for the most part, so that'll at least again be a little bit of relief. We'll show you how long that kind of relief lasts coming up in a few minutes. Ken?
Happening now at 8:31. We want to get right to Durham. It's a situation where that power outage we've been talking about, while the traffic lights are back on, there's still dozens of people still without power in that area. Let's get to our breaking news tracker. WRAL's Ali Cadler, photographer Michael Joyner on that scene. So what's happening now, Ali?
Yes, Ken. Well, we can see power. It's back on here at Roxborough Street and Liberty Street. We know it was out for about 3 hours. Less than 3 hours. Was just restored about 15 minutes ago. We saw a lot of dark street lights, a lot of dark apartment buildings, a lot of dark businesses. The Judicial Annex was one of those businesses without power, and now power is restored. More than 2,000 customers were without power for almost 3 hours. We know a limb or tree fell on one of the utility lines. Luckily, Duke Energy crews restored that right on time, 8:15. And so we know some are still without power. There's about 70 customers without power. So that's going to be restored hopefully by 10:15. So we're going to keep you guys updated throughout the day. But Ken, happily, there's no issues with the traffic here in this area because of those outages.
That's some good news, and the good news that the power is back on for all those buildings and apartments. Listen, let's get you out to I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us. I checked the sensors a little while ago. You're looking at a 4 to 6 minute delay. Similarly, on the northern loop of the Beltline, I-440 and New Bern Avenue, 4 to 6 minute delay in terms of getting from I-87 over to Wade Avenue. So, you know, it's a situation that's not really going to make you late when you really think about it, but give yourself some extra time either way. That'll help your commute this morning. Coming into the capital city, if you're coming in from Wake Forest, you're looking at a 7 minute delay on US 1 Capitol Boulevard, if you will. Over in Durham, let's start with I-885. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown there, and it's a situation where the last time we checked in, it was like a 10-minute delay if you're using I-885 just to get to I-40 this morning. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of a delay. That's down to 5 minutes right now. If you're going into Durham, you're just looking at a 4-minute delay. As far as other routes into the Bull City, really and truly very little to no delays, nothing really to write home about. You're getting ready to head out the door. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
All right, thank you, Ken. Breaking news, employees at the Cummins engine plant near Rocky Mount are back to work after a fire there this morning. They were forced to evacuate the building as crews responded to that fire. They were allowed back inside within the past half hour. We are working to confirm the cause of that fire and if that building was damaged.
This morning, a crane, tow truck, and Durham police spent hours pulling a vehicle from a ditch on Cornwallis Road. And police tell us that car flipped into the ditch just before 3 a.m. It was stuck beneath branches and trees. Now, there were no serious injuries in this, and the road is now cleared.
Well, some people in Enfield are waking up for a 4th day in a row without power. They've been without lights, air conditioning, and other necessities since a storm rolled through on Saturday. And WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live in Enfield this morning. Kelsey, that town is working to help people get through this really tough time.
Yes, Michelle, they are. Today marks day 4 without power here in downtown Enfield, and there are signs like this one outside of buildings downtown that say they will not be able to reopen until power is back on. Now, the power could be turned back on as early as this morning, but there is a chance power won't be restored until this afternoon or later. Neighbors stuck without AC in sweltering heat. The heat index has been at least 100 degrees since the town went dark on Saturday. Enfield Mayor Mondale Robinson declared a state of emergency yesterday. He says the power issues go back to Saturday's storm and a cascade of problems that not only knocked out Enfield's outdated grid, it also blew replacement parts brought in to fix the problem. The mayor now calling on the federal and state governments to help the town rebuild its grid.
Problems like this that are exacerbated to the point where we could lose citizens. We have people texting and calling me about their medication that needs to be in refrigerators and their electricity is still off.
The OIC mobile clinic will be open in the next 30 minutes at Enfield's Town Hall, so we'll be sure to keep you updated when they get started. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Enfield.
This morning, state regulators in Raleigh will begin testimony on Duke Energy's request to build another natural gas power plant in Person County. That plant would be on the same site as another natural gas plant. Neighbors in the area say they're worried about air quality problems. And Duke says the plant is needed because demand for power has grown faster than they projected. Environmental groups and solar advocates say the additional plant will contribute to climate change. The State Utilities Commission will hear arguments, and that starts at 10 a.m.
Rocky Mount police have charged a fourth person in connection with a shooting that killed two people. 19-year-old Kevonte Tyson is charged with first-degree murder. Police believe that he was involved in the shooting earlier this month that killed 19-year-old Rio Steele and 20-year-old Loren Dickens. 3 other men have also been charged. Tyson is being held in the Edgecombe County Jail without bond.
And Michelle, a Wake County man is accused of choking and hitting a pregnant woman. Evander Farrington faces 6 charges, including battery of an unborn child. According to court documents, Farrington is accused of repeatedly strangling a pregnant woman and hitting her in the face. Investigators believe the two people knew each other, and documents show this happened from December 2017 to February 2023. Farrington is being held on an $8,000 bond.
Drug company Biogen plans to invest $2 billion into its RTP site. The company says the money will be distributed over the next 3 years. It'll go toward modernizing manufacturing technologies and controls, building more clinical and commercial dispensing capabilities, and scaling up gene therapy tools. Biogen has 7 pharmaceutical factories in RTP.
Cornerstone Tavern in Raleigh's Glenwood South, it's closing. In a Facebook post, the bar said this coming weekend will be its last. Cornerstone has been in business for 13 years, and they have operated in 3 separate historic homes. The social media post says something new will fill the space. We have reported on several restaurant closures in Glenwood South, and that includes Carolina Ale House and 42nd Street Oyster Bar.
State Senate Leader Phil Berger set a date for when he wants lawmakers to try and override several vetoes from Governor Josh Stein. Berger plans to announce to bring state senators back on July 29th, and that's a week from today. His office says they will consider 7 vetoes from the governor. The bills deal with things like concealed carry permits and immigration enforcement. Republicans have the votes in the Senate, but they need a Democrat to vote with them in the House. Otherwise, the vetoes remain in effect.
FEMA's urban search and rescue chief resigned. Ken Pajuric was with the agency for more than a decade, and the announcement was made not long after deadly flooding in central Texas this month. FEMA was criticized for their delayed response to the disaster, and according to sources, Pajuric told FEMA colleagues that delay, that was the tipping point that led to his departure.
A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's effort to cut federal funding for Planned Parenthood. The case revolves around policies that aim to restrict funding for clinics providing abortion services. The judge ruled these actions were unlawful.
New this morning, some Republicans are teaming up with Democrats to override House Speaker Mike Johnson. They want to force a House vote on releasing more Epstein files. It would let lawmakers decide whether to give the Trump administration 30 days to disclose unclassified materials. The petition would need 218 signatures. Thing is, Democrats are 6 votes short, but enough House Republicans say they would back this measure, and that would mean their effort would succeed. The petition has to wait until after the 5-week August recess.
The town of Carborough is working to catch up on waste collection as residents clean up from Chantal damage. The Public Works Department is unfortunately working with a smaller fleet, and that's because flash flooding destroyed several solid waste vehicles, including trash trucks. The town says it has borrowed solid waste trucks while it gets leases for new vehicles. So yard waste and bulk collection are behind, but the town says they hope to get caught up this week. Dumpster service and residential waste collection are on schedule.
The town of Hillsborough shared some pictures of their parks damaged by Chantal. I mean, you can see right here. Contractors are working to make repairs and cleanup at Gold Park, King Highway Park, and along the Riverwalk Greenway. The town is asking people to stay out of closed areas to avoid a reopening delay.
And the town of Morrisville and Wake County are making an announcement this afternoon. Officials did not provide many details, but say it's an economic development. It's happening at 3 p.m. at the Spark Access Building on McCrimmon Parkway. We will update you on air and online when we learn more about this announcement.
A lot of investment coming to North Carolina. Summer flight delays. The busy summer travel season can often create headaches for you at the airport.
It's definitely been a summer of delays and cancellations and a lot of grumpiness.
We're going to talk about the few ways that you can deal with air travel obstacles.
And prison phone fraud. Inmates in North Carolina are running a new phone scam from behind bars. Just ahead, how they're getting their hands on the phones and what you should watch out for so you don't become their next victim.
You know what? Let's give you a treat this morning. You've been good. A live look at Carolina Beach. What a wonderful day people on the coast are waking up to. Oh boy, a brief break from the heat. That is what we need right now. But plot twist, meteorologist Chris Michaels will explain when the temperatures will go back up.
8:45 this morning, a little sprinkle heading into downtown Raleigh just off of Capitol Boulevard. Another sprinkle around Morrisville. The heavier rain is moving out of Alamance County into Chatham County. It'll get close to Cyrus City and Pittsboro right along 64. Probably within the next half hour or so. In terms of any severe weather threat, that's way out of here. That's going to be farther to the south where they're hotter and more humid and a front is camped out overhead. Now for us, we're north of the front, so we're not going to be nearly as hot as we've been over the past few days. Hour by hour temperatures showing that high of 86 to 88 between about 3 and 5 p.m., which is different than what we've seen over the past month or so. Our average high has been in the 90s, lows in the 70s. It's more typical of Houston, Texas for this time of year. I'll show you when we get back to numbers like that coming up. Ken?
I'm going to take a spin around the Beltline, starting with the southern loop of the Beltline. Is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Things are actually getting better on this southern loop. Traffic is moving along at a steady, albeit slow clip, but you're getting through there, albeit. The northern loop of the Beltline, things are moving along rather smoothly, even though it looks a little congested. It's just moving along. At least it's moving, right? As far as other routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. Just a 7-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest at this hour.
Now, if you believe in such a thing as soda wars out there, Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center, Coca-Cola just made some headlines right here, and it is a new version of its signature soft drink. Just days after President Donald Trump posted to Truth Social that he had been speaking with Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States, and he says they have agreed to do it. Coca-Cola, made in the U.S., is typically sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. So a healthier version, Donald Trump approves of it. It's going to be made with cane sugar, made in the U.S., and it should be ready by the fall.
Very nice. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Well, inmates are accused of running phone scams from North Carolina jails.
Yeah, folks, we're talking about at least 20 separate cases that are being investigated in Wake, Johnston, and several other counties across our area. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains how they're doing this.
Listen to this. Inmates are getting contraband cell phones, in some cases by drone drop-off, and using them to make these scam calls. They're calling family members of inmates claiming to be a bail bondsman. The caller claims they can get the family's relative out on early release if they send money through a payment app for bail and an ankle monitor. If the family refuses to pay, the scammers turn up the pressure.
And if that fails, then they say, well, you know, your relative has some enemies here, and he may not live through next week unless we get him out of here. And that's very persuasive.
This scam has been reported in a dozen counties across North Carolina and other states. Different versions of this scam target people with no connection to local jails or prison. So always be wary of any unsolicited phone calls and don't fall for pressure tactics trying to get you to make a payment immediately. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Today marks 2 months until the official start to fall, and one website is already forecasting foliage. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us the first call for colors this year.
Yeah, and I know we're kind of putting the cart before the horse, right? But for some of you who are tired of all the heat and humidity, maybe this is something you look forward to. And the folks at Explore Fall have put out their initial outlook, and this is actually run by a UNC Asheville grad. In the mountains, they're forecasting the peak foliage October 20th through the 28th, locally November 4th through the 11th. As far as how that kind of stacks up with the average, it's pretty close, right? So if you're planning any kind of trips to the mountains, especially after last year with Helene, I'm sure they would appreciate the tourism. They're looking at, again, near average peak fall foliage around here. It tends to happen in early November. Now, we are going to see a little bit of a drop in the humidity over the course of the next couple of days. It's not going to feel like October and November out there, but coming up, I'll time that out for you and put a little perspective on the little dip that we expect coming up.
Thank you, Chris. From air traffic controller shortages to the unpredictability of summer storms, travelers are facing turbulence at the airport. Just this past weekend, a technical issue disrupted Alaska Airlines flights, adding to an already frustrating season for so many travelers. Travel expert Andrea Sachs says as soon as you learn that your flight is canceled, investigate the cause.
Then you know whether you could just sit tight and wait, or you need to jump in and start advocating for yourself.
Sachs also says create a backup plan as soon as possible. Do not wait for more alerts or to be rebooked automatically.
Looks like all players will report to Carolina Panthers training camp today. Practice officially begins tomorrow. Panthers rookies reported to camp yesterday, and Panthers camp will be at their practice field in Uptown Charlotte. And folks, it'll be the first time ever that training camp is closed to the fans. But WRAL's Chris Lee, he will be there covering camp tomorrow and Thursday, and he will have live reports over on WRAL. A new challenge for a beloved TV soccer coach.
Yeah, and a hungry monster is headed to a NASCAR race. Time for a look at what's trending this morning. Well, the lovable UK-based football coach Ted Lasso is returning with a twist. Production is underway on season 4 of the Apple TV Plus show, and Ted will be returning to the U.S. to coach a women's football team. There's no information yet on the possible release date, but we know how popular Ted Lasso was. I've never seen it. I'm ashamed to admit that. I have to watch it.
It's a great show. Amazing. I just hope that they go strong with it because the last season ended perfectly. So I don't know.
We'll see.
Big shoes to fill, season 4. Cookie Monster will be making a special appearance at this weekend's Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis, and he will be the grand marshal for the race. This is part of Sesame Street's Road Trip Across America campaign.
I love that. Organizers say it's part of an effort to bring communities together. The Brickyard 400 race is this Sunday, so hopefully Cookie Monster can deliver.
Cookie Monster, turn left. Cookie Monster, get cookie.
There you go. You're welcome. He is you are so good. You're the king of just doing so many different impersonations. I can't.
I'm like if Netflix were a person. All right, we've got Chris Michaels over on weather talking about today's pretty nice forecast.
Yeah, not too bad. Just a few stray showers, especially around Alamance County, heading towards Siler City and Pittsburgh within the next half hour. This front's going to stay off toward the south, and it's going to keep us void of any kind of widespread storms. Your best shot of showers and storms today is going to be closer to the coast, where the air is coming in onshore. You get more of that humidity, more of that lift in the atmosphere. But yeah, parts of Sampson and Cumberland counties can't rule out a few hit or miss showers there. That's really going to be the trend throughout the afternoon and the evening, while humidity levels dip a little bit more heading into tomorrow. It's a subtle dip today, a slightly bigger dip heading into tomorrow. Even still, not going to feel refreshing. It's just not going to feel terribly sticky out there. In fact, it's been about 3 weeks since we've been tracking air quite like this, so we'll certainly take it. If you want things to feel more refreshing, you got to head up farther north toward New England. Meanwhile, heading into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that's when the heat is back. Potential for some heat advisories to be issued Friday and Saturday with the heat index 105 or above. Out the door this morning, temperatures about 76 to 81, Rocky Mount 77, Fayetteville at about 80 degrees so far. Not a terrible pool day, not a ton of sunshine, partly to mostly cloudy. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, so a nice break from some of the intense heat. But there it is, heading into the weekend, highs mid to upper 90s. That's a check your forecast. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up in just a bit.